What it is, what it was, and what it shall be. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It is the premiere episode of the Big Time Sports Show. We're going to wait for some people to come in before we get this thing started. 7:30 was the time. We right here moving and grooving and on time. Joining us on Facebook and on YouTube on HBCU Sports, Rashad Media. We're making it happen. I'm Reggie Flood. So come on in, join us. It's the premiere episode. We're going to have a good time today. We're going to talk about everything from the Legacy Bowl to Cam Newton. We're going to have a few discussions. We're not going to be here a long time, but it's going to be a good time. So make sure you come on in and join us. Let me know how I'm sounding. Am I getting a little echo there? Anything in there? Let me know how I'm sounding. Let me know what's going on. Come on in and join us, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Let us know. We're going to have a good time, like I said. So I'm just going to wait for a little while before we really get cranking in here. I'm going to wait for a few people to come in so we can have a good time and have a good crowd, because I definitely want to interact with everybody. I definitely want to react to your comments and talk about some of the things. Let me know what you guys want to talk about, and we'll get into some of that also. So we're going to have some fun, like I said. So come on in, just giving people a few minutes. Come on in, and we'll get it done on the Big Time Sports Show, the premiere episode. I'm loving it. Got my people on YouTube. Come on in, like and subscribe. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Got my Facebook people. Like and let me know that you're in here. Show some love. Come on in, comment, do your thing. We're going to have a good time. My man Chuck Hunt is already in the building. Of course, it's the first episode of the Big Time Sports Show, and I'm loving this. We're going to talk some SWAC. We're going to talk some HBCU. We might talk a little HBCU basketball if you guys want to, but we're just going to kind of chop it up a little bit, let you guys know what the show is about, and hopefully you're entertained and enjoying yourself. So we got a few people joining in. I tell you what, I want to know you guys' feelings. Give me your feedback on Cam Newton, on the Cam Newton situation. This is sort of taking on a life of his own after we've seen the video and we saw Cam kind of manhandling the dudes and handling his business, which Cam 6'6", 250 pounds. I mean, you run into that man, you get what you get. But I want to get you guys' view on how this thing is being handled from a media standpoint, and how, as African Americans, sometimes we make things a referendum on our community that maybe shouldn't be a referendum, or be something that we judge the community on. I think sometimes we tend to embrace negativity or embrace things because we've been judged so much around and so much in our community that we kind of embrace negativity and tend to be harsh in judging ourselves. So I want to get into that conversation, talk about that a little bit. Hey, Gordon, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to get you guys' feelings. And aside from, Cam handled his business, they tried to jump it. But I want to get into the deeper conversation, because there have been these think pieces that have come out. A lot of people have decided to give the commentary and the think pieces, but I want to get the people's idea beyond the fact that, Cam handled his business. I want to get what you guys think and how we deal with things when it's concerning Black celebrities in particular, and if we tend to side with the celebrity without even knowing the story a lot of times. I want to get you guys' opinion on that. I also want to talk about Trey Oliver, the coach at North Carolina Central. He was very upset about them running his former quarterback, Davius Richard, in the Legacy Bowl here in New Orleans. That's where I'm broadcasting from. I'm from New Orleans. He was very upset about them running him. The young man got injured. It's a long-term injury. He's out 6 to 8 months. It's going to curtail what was looking like it could possibly be a pro career. So he was very upset. He had some very emphatic statements about the coaching staff that did that at the Legacy Bowl. He later came back and he kind of not retracted his statement, but he rephrased what he said, because he felt like he used some language, and I'm sure some people told him about using the language that he did use, because he called the coaches dumbasses. And I'm sure that didn't go over well with the coaches, and I'm sure the people at his university asked him to rephrase that, and he went back and he did. But you could feel his frustration, and I've heard some people say, "Hey, that's football. That's a part of it. That's what happens," and other people saying he should have never been put in that position to get injured. I see both sides of it, but I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you guys think it was just a tragedy. It was something that happens. It's part of football, or was it a bad job by the coaches of protecting that player? I think it could be said about both. I think the coaches should have put him in a position. They called a play that was really a read option. It was a zone, and he decided to keep the ball. He got into the end zone. He was in the end zone easy, but when the tackle was being made, he tried to twist away. He was already in the end zone. The young man was holding on to his ankle. He dislocated his ankle. And that's a tragedy because I could tell it was very painful. I was standing a few feet away, and they literally had to bring out the needle and give him a shot right there on the field for pain. And they were able to wheel him off after that. But it was a shame. You don't want to see players go down, especially in an all-star game. And you wonder, how does that affect the Legacy Bowl in terms of coaches' decision? I think they're going to have some conversations about protecting players, especially players like the quarterback. I think they're going to definitely have to have that conversation. And I've been told that they had the conversation. As a matter of fact, Coach Trey Oliver said that the conversation was already had, but they ran it anyway, and they decided. You see, I had to put my glasses on so I could see what I was saying right there, huh? Because I was trying to read some of the comments. But apparently they felt like they didn't put him in a bad. The coaches felt like they weren't putting him in a position. They thought he would hand the ball off. Apparently he didn't. He decided to keep, and an injury happened. That happens in football, but I think Coach Oliver is like, why even put him in that position? Why even give him that opportunity to hurt himself or give somebody the opportunity to hurt him? So that's a conversation that I think we're going to have further. And in terms of the Legacy Bowl and being here in New Orleans, I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a growing thing. I think it's well organized, well put together. I think the next step for the Legacy Bowl is connecting to the community in New Orleans. I don't think they've done a very good job of connecting to the community in New Orleans. And I think that's going to be the next step for the Legacy Bowl. So we'll talk about that. But I want to lead off with the Cam Newton conversation. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Come on in, enjoy yourself, kick back, relax, and have a good time. We're only going to go for about 30 or 35 minutes today, but we're going to be back tomorrow and do another show. So I want you guys to enjoy yourselves, what it is, what it was, and what it shall be. It's the Big Time Sports Show with your man, Reggie Flood. Welcome in the premiere episode. Cam Newton. Man, how do you guys feel about the Cam Newton thing, about the Cam Newton video where the guys tried to jump Cam Newton? And I mean, besides the fact that the guys tried to jump Cam Newton, how do you feel about the think pieces and people? I think one of the first comments to say, I saw somebody say, "Well, you never see this happen at the Manning camp." Well, first of all, it wasn't a camp. It wasn't Cam Newton's camp. It wasn't Cam Newton's camp. It was a 7-on-7 tournament. That's what it was. It was a 7-on-7 tournament. If you know the atmosphere, and I know a lot of people probably don't, but if you've ever been to a 7-on-7 tournament, there's a lot of testosterone in the air. There's a lot of talk, a lot of chirping. Sometimes skirmishes break out because it's a lot of taunting. It's all of that. It is a testosterone-filled event, and sometimes there's wagering. There's all kind of things going on at these tournaments, and sometimes those things get out of hand. I've seen it before. I'm not a big proponent of the 7-on-7, but I've gone to those events. And you see that there's a lot going on. A lot of times there are guys who used to coach one team, and now they've started their own organization. So it's animosity. There, like I said, it's the gaming aspect, the betting aspect of it, and it all of that comes into play, and the trash talk. because it's a lot of trash talk. And I think this is one of those situations, because it was Cam Newton, because it was a celebrity, that a lot of people, looked at it, was like, oh man, they're acting a fool, blah, 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 which they were. They're grown men. They should be able to work the situation out without, coming to blows. But at the same time, I've been in the situations, and I've looked at these situations where, a guy like Cam Newton, a guy who has a lot of money, and I think that's something we kind of have to look at, and I kind of want to see this from both sides. I see Cam Newton, a guy who is involved in the community. He has his own 7-on-7 team that he sponsors. He's around. He's involved in the community. And then he have these guys that apparently he used to coach with, that were part of his organization. They spun off into another organization, or he left them and started his organization. I think that's how it went. And there's a lot of trash talking going on between the two of them. Apparently, the other organization had beaten Cam's organization the last 3 times that they had played. There was chirping going on about money on the table. There had been trash talking back and forth. And it seemed to have come to a head, and it seemed like, somebody felt disrespected, which is always what it is. It's always somebody feeling disrespected, and then all of a sudden, they're at blows, they're fighting. Which, as grown men, you got to find a way to get around that. But also, I look at Cam and I'm like, as a athlete, a well-known athlete, you can't put yourself in those situations, because there's only so much quote unquote disrespect that even a regular guy is going to take. There's only so much disrespect. And I think people, because of the celebrity status, which in particular in our community carries a lot of weight. Celebrity carries a lot of weight in our community. We tend to jump on the side or be on the side of the celebrity automatically without knowing the situation. We just automatically think the celebrity is right. So, tell me you guys, but beyond the fact, because I thought it was funny too. I thought Cam, the hat never falling off, and Cam smiling and slinging and throwing the little dudes around like it was a rag doll. Like, I literally had to explain. Like, I had a friend of mine who thought that those were kids, were high school kids, and I had to explain to them, no, those aren't high school kids. Those are grown ass men that Cam is throwing around like that. Cam is just a giant. He's just a giant. As somebody described, my man Fred Baptiste described it, Cam was like Andre the Giant on professional wrestling. He was throwing them around in a handicap match. But yeah, so besides that, because that was hilarious to me, I thought that was funny. If you're going to run up on the big man like that, you got to get him off his feet. You can't just be running up on the big man and hitting him in the chest. Even if a 235-pound linebacker have a hard time hitting Cam up high and getting him down, you have no opportunity. If you are a 5'8", 180-pound, 160-pound guy, you have no opportunity to get Cam on the ground. Come on, so you got to hit him low, baby, like Robin Harris say, cut him low, cut him low. Y'all remember Robin Harris, but look that up. That's an obscure reference for some people, but yeah, you got to cut him low. But yeah, but that we all got to kick it out. But I just want people to think about, we don't have to do a think piece on everything that happens in the community. That's basically what I'm getting to. We don't have to do a think piece on everything that happens in the community. Everything that happens in our community does not have ramifications for generations or even ramifications for the next day. Sometimes things just happen. Cam got an altercation. The dudes tried to jump him. He handled his business. Nobody was really hurt in the long run. Of course, it went viral, but I didn't need everybody, all of these media personalities telling me, oh, this makes our community look bad, the culture. No, it doesn't. It was a fight. And as African Americans, and this is my opinion because it's my show, as African Americans, we have to stop embracing that kind of negativity, man. Everything that happens that involves African Americans should not affect us in that way. And I saw somebody posted that people are going to look at us and they're going to think we act like animals. They already, all of those stereotypes that we buy into ourselves and perpetuate, they already have done that. They've done that whether we had on suits and said a prayer, whether we kneel, whether we march, whatever we've done. there are always going to be a certain group of people who are going to find a way to try to paint us in a negative light. So that's a battle that we can't win. But we have to be amongst ourselves. We have to hold ourselves accountable. I'm all about accountability, but at the same time, we can't continue to embrace these stereotypes and think because of the behavior of 2 or 3 or 4 people that it's all of a sudden going to come crashing down on our whole community and everybody has a commentary and a think piece about it. I mean, that's fine if that's your opinion and that's what you want to do, but I just think that it's a futile effort if we're going to continue to do that. And we've been doing that for years and years and years and years. This isn't something new. So that's my commentary about it. And tell me what you guys think, because I know people have differing opinions on this. Tell me what you guys think. I'm reading some of the things that are going on. I'm trying to read on the YouTube and Facebook. Former players. I see. What do you say, Chris? Of former players in the MLB, etc., to get back to the community. But when that does something, it happens. But this wasn't a situation where Cam was giving back to the community. And this is like we create these narratives. Like I get what you're saying, Chris, but we create these narratives that just isn't true. Cam is the sponsor of a 7-on-7 team. His team was there just like 500 other teams. Like there were literally 500 other teams in this tournament. Like, so it wasn't like Cam was doing something exceptional to give back. Yeah, fine. He was sponsoring a team, but Cam wasn't sponsoring the tournament. It wasn't a camp we just can curtail this rumor. It wasn't a Cam Newton camp. It was a 7-on-7 event in Atlanta. Cam's team that he sponsors was playing in the 7-on-7 event in Atlanta. And there were other teams there, lots of other teams coached by lots of other people in our community. And so Cam bringing his team there he's giving back to the community, but there were a lot of people who were participating in a community event. So let's just dispel that myth, okay? So if Cam has been at a lot of other events, Cam is a trash talker. We know that Cam Newton is a trash talker. I'm sure if you Google Cam Newton trash talking, we've seen videos of him on and off the field talking trash whether it be to NFL players or whether it be with civilians. He's a trash talker, and people trash talk him back. So this time the trash talk got out of hand. It got out of hand. And as grown men, like I said, they have to find a way for it not to be a situation. Like it shouldn't be a situation where it comes to blows. You should be able to walk away or talk it out. But at the same time, there's a level of disrespect that some people are just not going to take. And a lot of people saying, like I saw somebody say, I don't care if they were in the right. They just got their ass whooped, which is they did. But let's get a little bit deeper into the reason that these things happen. I think as somebody who is in a position of notoriety like Cam Newton, you can't put yourself in positions where you might get in a situation like this. Now, some things are unavoidable. But from what I've heard about the situations, what's been reported on this situation was definitely avoidable. Cam, they were talking trash among each other. Apparently there was money on the line. And, that's usually, first somebody said, it's usually, well, he asked for his money, and that's when the fight started. Well, that's usually how it goes. There's some things that happen. So, but these think pieces about it being a referendum on the Black community or on the culture, it's not that. It was a fight between some guys. It happened. It is what it is, but we can't keep embracing that kind of negativity and thinking that everything that happens is a referendum on our community. That's my point in all of this. And I want to know what you guys think. SWAC players being drafted. We're going to get into some of that a little bit more tomorrow. Davius Richardson was the guy that everybody looked at. He had a really good week at the HBCU Legacy Bowl, so he was that guy. So we're going to get into that. His coach, Trey Oliver, like I said, was really upset at the fact that he was put in a position to get injured. And he didn't mind voicing that opinion. Do you guys think that he was right in voicing his opinion? He called the coaches who called the play, who were coaching at the Legacy Bowl, he called them dumbasses. He got onto it and he called them dumbasses. How do you guys feel about that? I mean, injuries happen in football. I've seen people say that on here. Injuries happen in football. It becomes a part of the game. But to see that young man go down like that, it was definitely tragic. And I hope that he has a full recovery and is able to come back and do his thing and gets another opportunity. I hope the opportunity doesn't slip away from him because he got injured. So we'll see. What do you guys tell me? What's on your mind? Tell me you got questions. Tell me what's going on when you guys talk. I want to definitely interact. The Big Time Sports Show is going to be interactive. It's going to be what it's going to be. It's always going to include you guys. You know, it's always going to include you guys. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know what's going on with you guys. We're on Facebook and we're on YouTube. So glad you guys are joining us. We got a nice crowd out there. Trash talking shouldn't lead to throwing blows to either or other things escalating. What we like it, whether we like it or not, we do. Everything we do is okay. All right. Let's see. Brett Thornton wants to know what happened with Joseph at Southern. I don't know what happened with him, Brett. Apparently, he got into some disciplinary problems. Coach decided to put him off the team or take him off the roster. I don't know what the details of it, but he was the leading scorer in the conference when he left, one of the leading scorers in the nation. But apparently, I don't know, I can't get into specifics because I don't know the specifics of it, but I do know that whatever happened, Coach felt the need to take him off the roster, and the athletic director and everybody else decided to back him on that. Apparently, you know, so there were some issues, but from what I understand in my research, he's had issues at other programs too. So, you know, maybe this is I think some of these things that we've seen, like with the young man, this young man at Southern, with the Joseph kid at Southern, the young man Joseph at Southern, and the I think like the Arkansas Pine Bluff situation with their women's team on the bench, fighting each other on the bench and in the locker room. I think maybe I won't say this is a result of the portal, but I think when you go into the portal deeply and you make these transitions quickly, I think sometimes you take a chance on bringing in people who may have some character issues. You know, if you have people that have been at 2 or 3 programs, you have to really look at, and you only have them for 1 year, so you might have to look at, do they have character issues? Can you manage those character issues? Apparently, Coach Johnson decided he couldn't manage those character issues anymore. So he decided to let him go. And in actuality, people who have watched the team on the regular, at least the people that I talk to, seem to think the team actually plays better, has played better without Joseph. So I don't know. We'll see how they do this closing out of the season. The SWAC tournament is coming up. That's going to be exciting. I hopefully I can be at the SWAC tournament and do a couple of shows from the SWAC tournament. I think that's going to be a really, really nice event. I think the SWAC is really competitive this year. Grambling is in the lead, but we all know Grambling has never won a SWAC tournament on the men's side. If I remember correctly, Grambling is the only school in the SWAC on the men's side that has never been to the NCAA tournament. So with them going in, which will probably be the number 1 seed, maybe they can win it. Maybe this is Grambling's year to get there. But I think there are 3 or 4 teams that could possibly win the SWAC. So that's going to be exciting to watch and see what happens with that. We'll talk about some, MEAC and stuff as we get down the road, as the NCAA tournament starts to get closer and the conference tournament start to get closer. But I definitely wanted to come and talk to you guys today about what was going on and give you guys a kind of a taste of what the Big Time Sports Show is going to be like, because we're going to talk about a lot of things. We won't just stick to sports. We won't just stick to dribbling here. We're going to talk about several things, whether it's going on in the community around us. We might talk about the presidential election. We might talk about Fonnie Willis. You never know what might come up. The state of HBCUs. There's been a lot of talk about that, about what's going on. How are HBCUs going to get the proper funding, the funding that's been withheld from HBCUs, in particular in the Deep South for years and years, to total up to billions of dollars that have been withheld from HBCUs by states across the South. Are you guys in favor of a class action suit being filed, or some kind of organized effort, organized suit, but getting the lawyers together to see if the HBCUs, because it doesn't seem like it's been a serious organized effort to go get this money that the federal government is saying is owed by the states. So, who are we going to depend on, or is our HBCUs going to depend on to get this money? How does this get rectified? We're talking about billions of dollars. That's path-changing money for historically Black colleges and universities that have been withheld from universities, from the land grant universities in Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida, Carolina, places like that. Billions of dollars, hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. What effort, what kind of pressure can HBCU alums bring to bear to make this happen, to get this money? My suggestion is, the first step is that as HBCU alums, whether you're in Mississippi, Louisiana, Carolina, Florida, the first thing is you need to get with your legislative Black caucus. Because while we're in red states, the legislative Black caucus needs to bring these issues to the table at the state legislature, because that's where the funding starts at. That's where the feds give the money to the states, and the states are supposed to dole the money out. That's where this starts at. It starts with the state legislatures and your legislative Black caucuses bringing these issues to the governors, to the legislature. So if the legislature and then denies or refuses to give this money that has been granted, then you have some standing to go to court. We've seen this. This is not a new thing. This is repeated behavior. That's why we had the consent decree in the state of Louisiana that Southern and Grambling were a part of. We've seen the heirs lawsuit in Mississippi. We've seen the settlement out in Carolina. This is repeated behavior. This is not new behavior. They're only doing what they have been able to get away with for years. We have to call our public officials to the table. We have to call the public officials to the table and bring pressure to bear. And once it becomes an open topic and we're bringing it to the legislative floor, then if they're refusing to pay, then we can take the legal steps to do what's right. So those are some things that I want you to think about, because those, like I said, those are life-changing, I should say directional changing goals. Those are things that can change the directions and give a lot more stability to a lot of our HBCUs, in particular our larger HBCUs. Billions of dollars, sometimes $2 billion, I think, in some cases close to $2 billion, in other cases hundreds of millions of dollars. That can change the direction of HBCUs. So I think that is something we need to focus on. And I think our first step is talking to our legislative Black caucuses in these states, whether it be Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, North Carolina, wherever it is. We need to first of all talk to them and let them know that this is a concern for the community and not just lip service. Because the truth be told, they have a lot going on and they're not really looking to pick a fight. So we have to pick the fight for them. So that's what I would suggest that we do. So we're going to talk about that. This is going to be an ongoing thing, ongoing conversations. All of these types of conversations are going to be ongoing. But I wanted to come on and give you guys an idea of what the Big Time Sports Show is going to be like. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to be here tomorrow around the same time. Okay? We're going to come back around here around the same time, 7:30 tomorrow. We're going to go live again. We may go a little longer. I'm not sure on how we're going to do it, but this is what we're going to talk sports. We're going to talk community. We're going to talk all the things that affect us as a community. So I'm looking forward to interacting with you guys. Tell a friend, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, like and subscribe. Tell friends about it. Enjoy it. I hope you guys are having a good time. Jazz, can they hear the theme music? Y'all wait. We're going to have theme music and all. We're going to have all of that good stuff. So looking forward to that. But I want to thank you guys for joining us. I want to thank you. I hope you were entertained. Like I said, we're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to try to do this at least twice a week at 7:30. That's Central Time, 7:30 Central Time. So I look forward to doing this. It's been a lot of fun. Think about what I said. Give me some questions. Give me some commentary. Give me some feedback. I want to know how you guys feel. And always remember this. Big time players make big plays in big games. That's what makes us big time. And as always, y'all know Flood.